Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session, another recording from my side. Myself, Kumar. I have 14 years experience into AD, Exchange, Office 65, System Center product, and work on Azure infrastructure. I'm certified on infrastructure technologies and certified trainer from last 12 years. I have shared other contact details, including my website, my personal email address, my LinkedIn profile, and YouTube channel. So in this recording, I'm going to talk about how to do point-to-site connection as a VPN connection with new portal. So let me explain some brief information about point-to-site. So overall scenario is point-to-site connectivity with Azure VNet virtual network. So in this case, oh, I'm going to create one Azure network. So let's say I have set of Azure. I'm going to create one VNet and going to link couple of virtual machines. And on top, I have one remote machine with having one internet remote machine. So by default, I'm going to create VNet with this configuration called 10.121.0.0 slash 16-bit address space on Azure. This is my address space, and then I'm going to create my subnet, which is 10.121.0.0 slash 24-bit, and the VM IP address, which I'm going to create a couple of VMs. So I'm assuming the IP should be the IP4. The first three IPs are reserved in Azure, so valid IP to Azure VM is 4. So I'm taking one remote machine, name is lab, having a internet connectivity. On top, I'll going to make one gateway and try to make a tunnel so that from my lab VM I can take direct RDP to my Azure VM with my local IP, which is 0.4. So this is called external interface. This is called internal interface. This external interface will get a public IP as soon as we configure cloud gateway. So this is called gateway. And this subnet, which automatically link uh, with with VNet internally. I'll explain you once I configure this configuration. So let's do it as a step. So I'm going to log in with my lab VM. So I'll show you my host name. So host name is my lab VM where I'm working and I have only the internet available on this. So this is Azure Lab. Inside this lab, I have login with my portal. So I'll create a one resource group. East US name is live, and this I'll do it East US. I'm going to create one network, new networking, virtual network. So give a name Kumar VNet and address space as per the description. I'm using 121.0.0 slash 16. Put it into existing resource group live and give a name subnet 1, and the first subnet would be 10.121.0.0. slash 24 254 IPs, and this is a part of that subnet, which is address space, and this is subnet 1. So yeah, this is not, so there's a problem with the dot. So create, this is called my virtual network. Meanwhile, I'm going to create a VM, 2016 VM. Name is Azure VM1. And make sure an existing resource group live, East US. Basic virtual machine, DS1 V2. And so we'll make sure that I'm using the same VNet which I have configured previously, Kumar VNet and subnet 1, and without any firewall. So firewall is none. Rest is the default, and try to spin up this VM. Now, meanwhile, back to my resource group. I'm going to create a gateway. So new network, virtual network gateway. So I'll give a name Kumar VNet gateway. So gateway should be a VPN and route based. So we have couple of options. So we have basic, standard, high performance, gateway 1, 2, and 3 types. So these are the performance difference. Basic is with kbps connectivity speed. Standard gives you 512 kbps. High performance give you 1 gigabyte, and VPN gateway 1 give you 1.2 gigabyte connectivity, and further, high speed connectivity. So I'm giving a standard option, and it asks you this gateway should be a part of which VNet. So the VNet which we created, I selected the VNet, and now the gateway subnet. So gateway subnet, as per the diagram, is this gateway subnet. So this public IP is given by Microsoft. It will take 25 minutes to release this public IP as a configuration. And this is a gateway subnet, which is part of your VNet. So the subnet which I'm using 10.121.0.0. So this subnet should be, the any subnet which we are not used in VNet as a production. So I have not used one dot something. So you can use any subnet which you are not using right now, but it should be a part of VNet. So that's why it's one dot. So because we use only 00 right now, you can do it the last subnet if you want, like 20 dot, because end of the day my address space is very huge. So I'm doing 20 dot subnet and the public IP. So create a new public IP for my VNet gateway, give a name, and existing resource group, and configure. So this configuration to release this public IP, it will take 25 minutes time. Meanwhile, I'll pause this recording and I'll come back as soon as this public IP is released, and then we'll move forward. So as I said, it will take 25 minutes time. So my local time is something 11:45. So we'll see after 25 minutes. But meanwhile, I'll do the other configuration. So other configuration is on the lab VM. I need two certificates. I have to create two certificates with a utility called makecert, and the certificate name should be root, and one is certificate should be client. So root I have to upload to Azure VNet, and client I have to install on remote PC. In my case, my VM is lab VM. So these two certificate we are going to use with a utility called makecert, makecert.exe, which is a part of your SDK tool. So I'm going to install SDK tool on one lab VM, which is my Hyper-V VM. So my Azure VM is up and running. So I have a network folder where I have my SDK 8.1. So you can download this over the internet. So I am going to install this SDK on my on-premises lab VM, and simple install, and with all the default parameters. And now meanwhile I'll do one thing. I'll back to my Azure VM, which I have created a couple of minutes before. So I try to connect with the public IP. So I'll do two changes into this Azure VM. One is I'll show you a local IP, and second thing, I'll try to turn off the firewall so that I'll show you the connectivity from my on-premises remote machine. First of all, the local IP should be 4. We discussed in theoretical part 10.121.04, and I'll turn off the firewall and close this Azure VM. So end of the day, now my target is from my on-premises VM, which is Azure Lab VM on-premises. I should try to ping the local IP of Azure VM, which should be 10.121.04, which is not pinging right now because my tunnel is not established. So once this tunnel is established, I'm I'm directly get into the gateway to the cloud subnet, gateway subnet, and then further I'm getting to the VNet, and then VNet is a part of your VM. So the overall point to site scenario is, take example, you work for Azure projects, and you are Azure admin who manage this entire Azure infrastructure, and generally you are traveling to a different client location, and if your tunnel is already established and VPN tunnel is already established from one machine, so you are in a position to take RDP to a locally and do the further management uh, in case you required anything. So this is called point to site tunnel. We have another concept which we'll discuss in next recording, that site to site VPN, which is you have on premises and then how you integrate on premises with Azure with site to site VPN. So this is a single point to site scenario. So my SDK is going on, and once SDK is done, I'm going to use two commands to get two certificates, which is a part of makecert utility. So I have two commands available with me. So as soon as SDK is installed, I'll go to a specific path. So the path for that makecert would be program files x86, Windows kits 8.1, bin x64, and then you do dir. You have the utility, and one of the utility what we want is a part of makecert. So makecert backend, my kit is installed. So I'm giving a name. I'll copy this entire syntax. Makecert is I already typed, or you can do it through PowerShell tab, and remaining things copy paste, enter. This is called root. This command you will get it over a TechNet, Microsoft. So I'll do this makecert once again and copy paste the clients. So I have two certificates available now, which we can see through MMC, Microsoft Management Console. File, add remote snap-in, certificates. If I click on my user, I have two certificates. One is client and one is root. So I'm going to export root, right click all tasks export, export without private key, base x64, name is root. I'm going to save this under C drive, cert folder. I'm going to export client. Client is with key, and specific password. So when you export it with key specific password, if you go back to the certificate, they have two PFX, and you can install on the machine. So I'm doing I'm going to install on this machine with the default parameters. So this is all done, and so client we have to install on that client certificate, root we have to upload to the Azure VNet. So for that, I'm going to open this root certificate via WordPad. Uh, okay, I'll try to open with Notepad. Okay, sorry, I have to open the root with the Notepad. So that's called the thumbprint. I delete the first line and delete the last line, and target is to make this as a single line, because in VNet it support as a single line only. So entire file certificate thumbprint copy, and we'll try to paste it as soon as my public IP is released. So as I said, it takes 25 to 30 minutes. So meanwhile, I'll pause this recording until unless my public IP is released. So if I go to my resource groups, if I click on my live and click on cloud gateway public IP, so IP is not released as of now, to the cloud gateway. So I received that public IP. So if I see now that public IP is associated to Kumar VNet Gateway PIP, which is the public IP. So my certificate is thumbprint. We already done it as a single line. So what I'll do, I'll go to my live resource group. I'll go to my gateway and enabling point to site, address pool for the client side. So this should be the address pool which we are not using, in VNet. It should be outside to the VNet scope. So I'm giving 192.168.10.0 and certificate name is root, and copy paste to the certificate public certificate data, and try to save this configuration file. So once the file is saved, we'll get this download VPN client certificate script which is up and running. We need to download this, try to install and try to connect, and then we'll see as a ping, that we are able to ping to the Azure VM or not through a local IP. So that is done. Download the VPN client. and then try to run 64-bit script, run as admin. So that script is giving a connection under the networks, and I'll try to connect to this. So as soon as it's connected, I'll get a ping response from my Azure VM. So point to site connection is established. So with this machine, now I'm in a position to connect to any Azure VM if the VM is a part of Kumar VNet. So, and now I can take this RDP as well. This time I am taking with the local IP. So I'm into this VM now with the local IP. So I hope this recording, this session, this information is informative for you. Thank you everyone for watching this.